Now that you don't have nothing, you have something, you have an outline, and then you've written everything, or at least as much as you can possible. You've exhausted everything, all of the information, all of your research, any little extra thing that you needed to gather for this book to be a book, you've done it. Now, let it sit for a period of time because what happens is when we come back to it, we will find that we need to add things, we need to take out things. I had a book where I put information in there that had nothing to do with the subject matter. And so when my editor read it, she's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't go with what you're talking about. I'm like, well, take it out. We don't want any of that. So you'll find that, I want to put this part in, but it just doesn't flow. It doesn't go with it. Or maybe it needs to be in another part of the book, right? You're thinking, oh, this happened this time period, but it really happened later in life, right? When you recall the information. And when you do your research, you talk to someone, they'll say, oh, that happened back in 1979. And then, you'll be like, oh, I thought that happened back in 60, whatever, right? So you're getting clarity on things, right? So this is where your research comes in and you're going and you're finding out information. Maybe there's dates, time periods, the way the story actually happened or what have you. So let it sit and then just have a moment to rest and relax. You may have anxiety because you want to get this book out, but really let it sit. I have found that writing something, then I will go back and say, oh no, right? So then you might scrap a whole chapter, you know just because it does not go, right? And then, your mind frame at the time may be different than it is 6 months down the line, 3 months down the line. You may be going through something and then you put the book down, you go back to the book and you're in a different mind. And then you can say, okay, yeah, I don't need to write about that, or I don't need to write that. I was just really not in a good space. So that's why it's good to let the book sit. And depending on the subject matter, it will help you in the long run. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing this video. Take care.